What's up? Good.
Nick, what's your take on the situation with Saquon and really generally the economic situation with running backs in the NFL right now?
We're definitely in a tough situation. Running backs as a whole, Saquon's a great player, and you can ask anyone around the league or even on the Giants how much he means to that team. So it's hard seeing him not get what he deserves.
There's a report that some of you guys got on a Zoom call yesterday to kind of discuss the situation. Anything that came out of that makes you feel positive?
Well, I mean, right now it's just talk. There's really nothing we can do. We're kind of handcuffed with the situation. But I mean, I felt what I took from it. McCaffrey and Derrick Henry and Saquon all had a lot of good points, but the biggest thing is that we're in a position that our production hurts us the most. If we go out there and run for 2,000 yards with so many carries, the next year they're going to say, you're probably worn down. That's the biggest thing that I took from it. It's just, I mean, it's tough. It hurts us just to go out there and do good. It hurts us at the end of the day.
How do you feel about your situation here with this team? You got another year to go after this year.
Yeah, I got another year, so I mean, it's easy for me to say it's not a big deal, but next year it could be me in the same situation. But for right now, I do got one more year, but I'm here. I'm all in. I'm ready to work with my guys.
Is there any talk of you and your rep working on an extension?
No, I'm focused on just playing right now.
In light of everything that's going on, is this something though that's creeped into your mind about what your situation may be next year?
I can't say I haven't, but I'm so focused and locked in. It's I'm there with those guys too. I understand the situation. I know it can be me one day, and yeah, I mean, I'm just kind of playing both sides. I'm here for my team, but I'm also understanding the situation that I could be in.
Does it make you appreciate
the business from?
I'll say it again, Starter.
How difficult is it to separate the business of the game with the actual game itself?
Yeah, that's probably the most. That's probably what I hate most about it now, being in the NFL, just the business side of it. But yeah, for me, I just take it a day at a time. I come out here and, when I'm on the field is easy. I'm doing what I love. But off the field, you do got to think about some things from, for your future. But for me, I'm focused on just coming out here every day and going to work.
Does this make you?
For you to participate in?
Nah, it's fine.
How important was it for you to participate in the Zoom call and show that you were supporting these guys, even though right now you don't have your own
Yeah.
contribution?
Yeah, I feel like I had to be there. I'm in camp. Those guys aren't in camp right now, but I still make time to get on the Zoom and listen to what everyone's saying. And I feel like it was important for me to be there because we got young guys who will be up next, like JT, Najee, and J.K. Dobbins. So I feel like it was important for them to see my face and to hear my voice there. So supporting everyone.
What's happening this year, Nick? Does it make you appreciate what the Browns did when you came up for that second contract at all? The fact that some guys aren't getting that second contract that you did get.
Yeah, it does. It's easy for me to say because I feel like the Browns definitely value us different. I feel good with what we got done years ago, but and it's not the same for everyone. At the end of the day, we are all running backs, so we all are together. But it's a tough situation for everyone.
Do you feel Kareem's situation is being affected by this trend?
I'm not sure. I haven't talked to Kareem about it, but I'm sure it is in a way. It hurts us when guys sign for $6 million a year. I would say that hurts a lot, and just as a whole, because if they can get one guy to do it, then they're going to push that for someone else, and yeah, it's just we're in a bind, a tough spot.
Is there? I don't know if this came up on the Zoom call or anything. Is there some sort of collective action you guys could take? Have you guys thought that far?
I don't think we got that far, but it's a lot of talks. So we have a lot of options of things we can do. But as far as right now, we're looking for a call to action, I would say. But I don't think anything was actually established as far as that aspect. But we're still thinking of things we can do.
Nick, do you feel like your value to this offense is still as high as it's ever been?
Yeah, I do.
Nick, they talk about wear and tear on running backs. Do you feel like, though, you even going back to college, that you've never really had it. You've had a workload on you, but not like a big workload because, in college you had Sony and here you had Kareem and others. Do you feel like, the kind of the tread's still there plenty of tread left on the tires, the wear and tear hasn't gotten you yet?
I don't feel like I feel like that's a myth in a way. I think everyone's different. You can't say wear and tear just as a whole of every running back because, Derrick Henry, how many yards has he had, and he's still rolling. I feel good. I think we're on a position that matters. Like you can see receivers who have been hurt, and it's never a situation of they're been hurt, injury prone or anything. They only say that with running backs, and I don't think that's fair for us.
Why do you feel like they do it for you guys, but they don't do it for offensive linemen or receivers?
Because of the because they say we get hit every play, and we're more injury prone when we're all on the field doing the same thing, but only that applies to us, And I mean, I would say if we're taking the most risk and doing the most, then we should be valued more.
Nick, have you gotten positive feedback from other teammates, not necessarily running backs, on the whole situation? You guys understand?
Yeah, I feel like everyone can say that we're definitely we work harder than what we're valued. I mean, anyone would tell you that. I mean, some guys in the meeting yesterday said if you for like a team scout, let's say Monday we're playing a different team, in the team meeting, the head coach is going to bring up their running back. The first person they'll bring up is how good's their running back, how can we stop him, and that's every team. I mean, I feel like every team their running back that gets the team going. We cowbell when we need something big, make a big play or a big run. Everybody's gonna look to the running back.
Nick, it sounds like you're going to do more out of the shotgun and that. How's your feelings about that?
I'm ready for whatever. Whatever we can do to help this team win games, I'm all in.
Does it make a difference for you as a running back?
It does not make a difference, no.
Well, I'm just curious, how are you able to? Because I've heard some running backs like the under center, that kind of thing.
We all have preference. I mean, under center, you're farther back, so you have more time, you be more patient with the ball. But I mean, I'm able to switch it up to whatever we need to do.
Nick, are you concerned? This trend now that's happening with the running backs, the trickle down to you not just rookies and younger players in the pros, but all the way down to the grassroots level. I mean, the impact it had for kids who maybe want to play the position and debate whether they should.
I mean, it's tough. I mean, what do you tell them? You're going to go out there, because running back's usually the strongest guy on the team. They usually are all hard workers. So what are you going to tell a kid that wants to be a running back? I mean, work hard and do all these things to not get as much as your teammate who's not doing the same things as you. I mean, it's tough, but I hope it doesn't come to that. I think we will find a solution.
How, if at all, do you think your role is going to change as this offense evolves in Deshaun's second season?
I'm not sure. I mean, hopefully it'll be the same. Be able to run the ball and pass the ball both in balance.
If you had a son and he wants to play football, would you talk him out of playing running back?
Whatever he wants to do would be his cause. I mean, it don't even got to be football. Whatever he's doing, I'm going to be supportive of him.
If he had a choice between wide receiver and running back, maybe you would shade him towards wide
I'm
receiver.
so far from having a kid, I don't know how to answer that.
Every offseason, you kind of gear your personal training to get to this point. I'm pleased about the way you came in. We saw the video, the recent squatting video.
Yeah, I'm pleased. I feel good. I did everything I wanted to do in the off season, so I feel like I'm good where I'm at.
Did you set a personal best this year, weight-wise?
Yeah, I did.
Did it reveal the number?
Nah, I didn't.
About that bar.
Yeah, it does. It bends.
On a lighter note, you were rated the #1 running back in Madden. What that mean to you? Is that cool to see?
It's definitely cool to see. I mean, as a kid, everyone plays Madden, and it's cool to actually be in the game for one. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it's special.
Did you play growing up?
Yeah, everyone played Madden.
Nick, the thoughts of you could be next, or how many years you have left, is this new thoughts to you, or is this something that's like
What is?
like the thought of you could be next, or just in general, how many years you might have left to be on top of your game? Is this stuff you've just recently started thinking about?
Nah, I haven't thought about it. Every off season I go in and do the same thing, hit the same numbers, hit the same time. So, I feel good where I'm at.
Nick, you're the last running back to receive a double-digit million contract, I believe, since you signed. So are you grateful that you got that contract when you did, and that you're in good shape like that right now?
Yeah, it was perfect timing for me and my team. Of course, we got it done at the right time, I guess, because now it's kind of in shambles. But yeah, I'm grateful that we're able to get it done.
How have you seen Jerome? How have you seen Jerome look so far since you guys have been back?
Jerome looks good. He's fast. He's very fast. He's smooth. He can do anything you ask him to do. He's a special player.
Did you notice a big difference in him in any way?
He's more mature. I would say that he understands the playbook. He understands what his role is and what he needs to do, and just overall, he's matured a lot more.
Thanks, Nick.
you doing?
Remember this place?
I do. Very well.
Much more comfortable does this feel, now that you get into training camp compared to a year ago?
Personally, I'm in a different space. Feel really well, feel really good, comfortable being around the guys, the locker room, the coaching staff, the organization, and just the city of Cleveland. So, having an opportunity to go into the season, full off season, locked in, focused, definitely feels good, and I want to continue to, keep channeling and cherishing all that energy and positive energy that has been, spread around this organization and the city for myself.
When you say you're in a different space, do you find it easier to focus on football this year because it's so different for you than what was going on at this time last year?
Of course, yeah. I mean, I can just lock in on my craft. I can lock in on my job, my profession. When I leave the football field, I can focus on studying the game and not having any distractions. So that's what I'm just doing, is just taking it one day at a time, one opportunity at a time, and just really just cherishing this moment as best as I can.
Deshaun, when people talk about you in the locker room, they view you as a really strong, natural leader. Do you feel this year, like you took the guys to Miami, you went to Puerto Rico, do you feel like this year you've really had the ability to take the reins of this locker room?
Yeah, I think, and then it goes back again. Last year was just a different space for myself, but different for the whole team and the organization. There were some things that we had to deal with and take care of, and we had to do that. So it was hard for the team to really attach to me and fully, because they had to get ready for another quarterback in Jacoby. But like I said, the past is the past, but we can focus on this year, and everyone was able to really, figure out who I was and, get to know me a little bit better. And, my personality has been able to show around the locker room as best as I can.
Deshaun, how is Kevin helping you? And then how would you characterize how your partnership and relationship has evolved in the last 18 months or so?
Me and Kevin our relationship is going to continue to grow. And as the days go by, we continue to talk and communicate. He knows he can come to me with whatever situation. If it's about football, if it's about life, if it's about the locker room, anything, he can come to me and I'll make sure I take care of it. And vice versa, I can do the same with him. So, we've been able to talk over the past off season. Sometimes we'll talk about football, sometimes we'll talk about family, vacation, all types of things. So being able to have that relationship and that open road for both of us to communicate is definitely a bonus for us.
When you said that in minicamp that everything's new as it relates to the offense, can you elaborate on that a little bit and sort of give us an idea of how everything's new?
You're trying to get me to spill the beans. I'll just say that, being able to move everyone around, being able to have, guys play all types of different positions, and being able to, go out there and play fast, but have, like I said, the biggest thing is just moving guys around and being able to do all types of things that, you guys in the media, or this fan base haven't seen in the past. So being able to open the whole playbook and open the whole offense is definitely going to be special.
How much is Elijah being with this team now, and the way you can utilize him all over the formation?
It's great because Elijah can do all types of things. He's very versatile. He can play outside, inside, whatever you need him to do, he can do. But also just the young guys and the depth that we have in that receiver room. Yeah, a lot of guys might not have big names yet, but they can go out there and they can make plays. And being able to, hang around Amari, hang around DPJ, hang around Elijah, the young guys are being able to, channel that opportunity, that grind, that work, and be able to go out here and participate and be locked in and focused. And, that's what we've been able to see, and we want to have depth and, everyone be able to have the opportunity to make plays.
Hey, Deshaun, I know that time away for you was difficult last year. Did the suspension change you as a player or a person?
Of course. I mean, the whole situation changed me. In a situation where it's just kind of I had to lock in on myself, channel and really know who I'm, surrounding myself with, and just really who's going to be there and support me, even when I'm at my lowest point. And the last 2 years was definitely my lowest point in my life, but that's part of life. And I just go from it. I learn from it. I continue to move forward and push forward and continue to show my real character, my real personality, and who I am.
You said you've embraced when the pressure is on you. So how comfortable are you with the thought, and I think it's pretty prevalent out there, that this team will go as far as you take it this year?
Yeah, I think pressure is a broad word. I think a lot of people see it differently. With me, it's just a situation where, it's where moments and situations, opportunities you fear, and you don't feel comfortable because you haven't prepared yourself for those moments. So my job as a quarterback, as a leader, is try to think of all situations and opportunities that we can go through. And it might be certain situations that I haven't thought of or practiced, but in my mind, I like to kind of daydream and put myself in those positions. And if I know I can, then I can be a little bit calm and trying to bring down the pressure. But to your question, it's more of just kind of like, yeah, it's going to go as far as the quarterback take us because we touch the ball every play. We're the leader, and we direct where the ball goes and if it gets in the end zone. And I think, with this opportunity for myself, I want to be able to embrace that pressure and embrace that opportunity, and let's see what happens.
Deshaun, when you talk about this whole situation changed you, you're in a good place now, how has it changed you? What place are you in right now? Where are you mentally where you weren't last year?
I'm blessed. I'm happy. I'm grateful. Thankful for this opportunity. I talked to the team last night. We had an opportunity. Kevin called up a couple guys, and we gave our history, our story. He called it the 4 H's, which is the history about yourself, your heroes, your heartbreaks, and your hopes. And I had the opportunity to speak to the team and told my story. But I'm just happy about just life in general. And I have a great support cast around me, have a great family, have a great home, and an organization that's backing me up. So with that foundation, I feel like I can, get back to where I was and be even better as a person and as a player.
How many players did the 4H yesterday?
I think it was like 3 players and 1 coach. So I think every night we're probably going to have the opportunity to get to know everyone.
Sean, one of the big topics recently has been the value of running backs. If you have a pretty good one in Nick Chubb, could you imagine this offense without Nick Chubb?
No, I cannot. Chubb, really all those guys, but starting with Chubb, he's a big part of this offense, and we know that. And so we're going to continue to feature him and do what he's great at. And Chubb, he's going to embrace his role and be able to do everything, catch passes, run the ball, and do things that he probably haven't done before. But, when you get in that meeting room and you ask him if he's comfortable with it, he's open for whatever's going to help the team, get to that ultimate goal, that's what he's going to do. So, being able to feature him, he's a very important part for this, not just the offense, but this team.
And then when you had a chance to kind of watch those games last year from afar, did you learn anything new about him or see anything about him that kind of surprised you?
I've always known Chubb is going to be Chubb. I've been watching him since high school. We both from Georgia, so watching high school football, Cedartown, and Gainesville. I don't think we're in the same division, but our bracket, however you call it, classification. But I already knew about Chubb, so it's nothing new for me. It wasn't surprising for me. It's just not having the opportunity to play with him is definitely fun.
You should feel more comfortable in this offense. I'm just kind of curious, how has AVP and Kevin challenged you when it comes to, elevating your game?
I think the biggest challenge is being able to go out there and kind of direct the offense. Of course they give me plays in certain situations, but allowing me to be able to put us in the right play. And whenever that situation where we know we're not in the right play and the defense get us, not making that mistake. Dirting the ball, maybe sometimes throwing it away, or sometimes you might have to take a sack just because it's just part of the game and you got to give the defense credit. So being able to take that next step with that and putting us in situations where we can kind of help the defense, help the special teams, but put us in situation, field position to be able to score points is definitely another area that we want to continue to grow.
It looks like a lot more shotgun this year, sort of a different offense, everything. In the 6 games you played last year, did it feel like you were under center more than ever?
No, nothing really. In Houston, I was on the center a lot. We did a lot of wide zone and play action and keepers. Nah, not really. I think it was a balance of what I've done before.
Kevin said when you were.
How did your teammates receive your story last night? What kind of feedback did you get? How did it feel for you to be able to tell your story?
It was great. The feedback has been great. A lot of guys been coming up to me and telling me thank you and appreciate the story and just really just how real it was and how impactful it was for them to hear it. A lot of people knew of me. A lot of people heard different things. A lot of people, especially the last 2 years, heard different things. A lot of people watched me, through college because we have a young team. So they, kind of too, but they didn't know my history from where I grew up. Gainesville, Georgia, 815 Harrison Square, the sectionary apartments, that type of situation of, when I was a young kid, I didn't think of the NFL. I didn't know I was going to make it out of high school. My mom being sick and having tongue cancer and not being able to eat solid food ever again. Not having a father figure in my life ever, probably 27 years, only seeing him 4 times, and different stuff like that is things that people don't really get to hear about. Especially last 2 years been, the media directing and narrating something else, it's been kind of overshadowed. So having the opportunity to tell that story in front of those guys and look the teammates in their eyes and be able to touch them and let them know how, why I am who I am, is definitely impactful.
Kevin said he found you in the facility before you were supposed to report watching film, and he wasn't expecting to see you there. Do you remember that? And why were you there watching film when it wasn't even report day yet?
I'm just hungry. I'm anxious. I'm ready to just go out there and just play ball. And I've always been a student of the game, but when nothing else to do when I'm sitting at home, so all I want to do is just go out there and try to improve. We have so much time and just free time in the off season, and my mindset was just really just making sure I'm prepared and going out there, like I said before, is pin myself in situations that can come up this season, on the field, off the field, and just being able to just go out there and grind. So it was just, when I'm in Cleveland, if I'm not at the house or out eating, I'm at the facility. And those are the 3 spots that I'm pretty much doing, or I'm located.
Hey, Deshaun, as Dan mentioned earlier, the running backs are kind of taking a literal beating around the league now with this economic situation. You're a quarterback, but do you have sympathy for kind of the situation that they're in right now?
Of course. They carry this team. They carry the offense. If you don't have a running game, it's hard to have a passing game. And it's hard to open up for the receivers. It's hard to make the game easy for, the quarterback. So, because a lot of teams can play too high shell and do different things and try to take away the passing game. So, yeah, of course, I think guys should get paid. I think all those guys should get paid that's, either holding out or waiting for their opportunity. So, I think they, deserve the money and they deserve everything that each person deserves.
How worried are you about Marquise Goodwin? How disappointed were you to find out that he's got blood clots in his schedule right now?
I wouldn't even say disappointment. I think it's just more of just making sure he's healthy, making sure he's safe. He's a brother of mine. We signed with the same agent, so I've known Keith for a long time, and I know how good and I know his heart. I know how hungry he is to just come out here and play with us. So it's tough for him to kind of watch from the sidelines, but safety comes first and health is first. And we all here for him. We all been praying for him. We all, going to support him and rock with him. And when his opportunity comes, I know he's going to be ready and prepared for that moment. So whatever he's going to do to make sure that he's safe and healthy, it comes first, and then football is going to come after that.
Deshaun, you talk about where you are personally. How is this the? Do you feel like you're in the best spot personally in your life? I mean, where would you put that?
Yeah, I'm sorry to cut you off. I think I'm in the best spot of my life, and I think it's just because, I'm older, I'm more wise, I've experienced different things in different situations. I think you guys can see it by the way I'm answering the questions. It's just kind of, being able to talk and communicate. Last year wasn't that situation because I wasn't in the right headspace. But being able to have that right headspace, go through different media, tasks and opportunities, go through, what the NFL put me through with, the therapy sessions and things like that. I didn't take that lightly. I really cherished those moments and I want to learn, So, I thank everyone that was a part of that, and being able to, like I said before, have that background and that foundation to support me has been great.
Have you continued some of that? You mentioned the therapy sessions. Have you tried to kind of continue that, even after, the mandate was,
Of course, yeah. I've never experienced it before because I thought, being a young kid and, things was going, in the right direction at the time, as I thought. You don't really think, you just kind of go to day-to-day life. But even when you're not going through a situation and things are going great, it's always good to be able to talk to someone, be able to experience and learn different things. And I feel like I can learn from anybody, no matter what part of life or situation or how high up in your profession you are or how low you are. I feel like everyone has a story and has an opportunity that, you can learn from. So when I'm talking to someone, I try to just, if it's a small little nugget, I can just grab it from and put it in my life and my situation so I can grow and learn. That's what I want to do.
And what would you want people just to know about you? You've been pretty introspective today, so.
Know about me?
Yeah.
I've always been who I am. Nothing ever, changed me in a way of just the type of person, the character I am. I've been able to grow and learn, like I said before, but who I was as a little kid growing up and being able to give back to the city, back to the community, and just love people and just give out just peace and just great energy. That's me. That's Deshaun Watson. And and I know other people have different opinions. That's fine. That's totally fine. But I can't let that dictate who I am as a person. And I want to continue to just show that. And it's going to eventually show because I'm a man of Christ and I know my Lord and Savior. So I just focus on that and it's going to continue to come to light.
Deshaun, you mentioned last one here, helping in the community and stuff. You have been doing that largely outside of your camp you had over the summer. You've largely done that under the radar with very little fanfare. Just how important has that been for you to be able to do things like that without, trying to specifically attract attention to yourself?
Because that's what I've always done. That's just me. So I don't need the media. I don't need people to necessarily talk about it. I don't do it for the glory or things like that. I do it for the kids. I do it for the community. I do it for people at needs so they can have those opportunities and smile and have things that they probably wish they never or they probably always dreamed of and couldn't get. So I have the opportunity to kind of give back to them. I don't just do it because I'm in a new city and things like that. I do it because I love it, and that's just me, my heart. That's my family, and that's how it helped me get to my situation. And when I was a little kid, so being able to grow from that and do that. I don't just do it in Cleveland. I do it in Georgia, back in my hometown. I still do it in Houston. I still got love for the city of Houston and the people there. So I still have my home there. So anywhere I can give back and be able to inspire people and motivate people, that's my calling.
Thanks, Sean.
Thank you.
Thank you, Deshaun.
How we doing?
All right. All right. You guys ready to go?
Yeah, sure.
All right. All right. So we're super excited to be here at the Greenbrier to start our preparation for the 2023 season in earnest with training camp. Being here is just a phenomenal opportunity. I mean, you all can see how beautiful it is out here. It's my first time, but it's been awesome. And I actually want to start off with a couple thank yous because I don't think people realize how hard it is to move your entire football operations to a remote location here, obviously in West Virginia. Starts with Phil Dangerfield, Abir Chaudhry, Chavis Cook for handling everything logistics related. Our equipment group led by Brad Mellon, our video crew led by Rob Pavlis, and what we think is the best grounds crew in the NFL. They all did a great job of making sure the setup here is exactly what we need. We looked at the Greenbrier as a unique opportunity for us, coming back early for the Hall of Fame game. To do a couple things. Number one, really just focus on the work, in a very, isolated environment, and also give us some extra time to just come together and bond and gel as a team. I want to commend the coaching staff. I thought they did a great job of laying the foundation for our organization this spring, and we're looking forward to building upon that over the next several weeks in training camp. So with that, I'll open it up for questions.
Andrew, after the Winfrey roster move, why haven't you seemed fit to add a defensive tackle?
Yeah. So Tony, I think one of the big, one of the big things that we do early in training camp is really just assess the roster. We haven't seen a lot of our players in pads in a new defensive system. We do like a number of the individuals that we have in that room currently. Obviously, it's unfortunate we're moving on from Perrin after a year, but he, like a number of players on our roster, were really competing for a role, competing for a roster spot. So we like the mix of players that we have across all positions. We'll see how we feel as we come to the middle of camp, and then reassess the roster from there.
Andrew, how disappointing was it that Perrin wasn't able to make it to year two after being a draft pick?
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's probably less to do with draft pick or non-draft pick, but the fact that you ultimately want any player that you bring into the organization to maximize their ability, maximize their time with the team. You realize that's not always going to happen, and ultimately it's about putting the team first and making sure that you have guys that buy in.
Any regret about not cutting him after the April incident?
Honestly, we take every situation individually and work from it from there. We thought the proper time to move on was, last week right before camp, and kind of leave it at that.
Is that like an opportunity to take a minute to sort of reevaluate the process of, drafting him? Of course, you had the issues last year with some of the suspensions and the on-field stuff. Do you kind of reevaluate anything?
I wouldn't necessarily go that far, Dan. I think, anytime you bring an individual into the organization, it's about understanding, the risk that may entail, whether it may be on-field, off-field injury, so on and so forth, and then trying to provide an environment that allows them to be successful like they may have been either at their previous stop or you're in college. You're not always able to replicate that. You're not always able to do that successfully, but to me, it's a little bit about knowing what you're bringing in and how to support them.
I asked this not because Davon Jones didn't practice today, but are you comfortable with the backup offensive tackle?
Yes, but probably to the question earlier about defensive tackle. Oftentimes when you put the team together in the spring, you have an idea of how you assume it's going to play out. It never goes perfectly. And training camp, whether it's through performance or injuries, that's a big time of the calendar for us to evaluate the team. But we do feel good about our tackle depth as we currently stand.
Andrew, go ahead.
I was going to just ask you about Marcus Goodwin. When did you really kind of know that this was going to be an issue? How worried are you about it? What's the outcome?
Yeah, first and foremost, with Marquise, our priority is making sure that he's safe and healthy. From my perspective, I feel like we are very thankful that he spoke up. At the time that it really, popped up, as you mentioned, like kind of spring, right at the end of minicamp, it could have been very, very easy for him to go on break, travel with his family, and it's something that was an unknown, would have been an unknown that, hopefully would not have caused more complications in the future. So we're just thankful that he said something, and we were able to get him the, kind of on the treatment plan to get back on track. Obviously, there's not a definitive timetable. We're hopeful that we can get him back, but our primary concern is just his health and safety.
Was there anything in the physicals or anything that, like when you looked at requiring him?
No, not that. It's not. So it's, well, without going into it, it's not typically it's not the type of thing that you would find in that type of exam.
Hey, Andrew, your star running back is under contract and happy, which is kind of a unique situation, at least this week in the league. What's your take on running back situation in general? I know that's kind of broad, but how the position seems to be undervalued, and these guys are kind of screaming right now about it.
Yeah, I think as you look at our sport, it has changed from, let's call it the 80s in the 90s, where at that point a lot of offenses were built on maybe a bell cow runner. I think now unequivocally the central protagonist in our sport is the quarterback, and as a result, positions that are the quarterback plus positions that are tied to the passing game, the market has dictated that those values have shifted because of their impact on winning. And I think you see that over time as the game changes, the game evolves. Now that being said, the rarest thing that you can find is a difference maker, regardless of position, regardless of your organizational philosophy. And now we have a defensive tackle that's making north of $30 million. We have a guard that's making north of $20 million. You have off-the-ball linebackers that are making $20 million, because there are players that break the mold. And for us, when we made our decision at running back, we felt like we had a superstar at the position who embodied everything that we wanted within the organization. So we didn't overthink it. It's Nick Chubb, right? And so, for us, it was a pretty straightforward decision because those difference makers are hard to find.
Andrew, they talk about wear and tear with running backs, but Nick was saying he sort of thinks it's a myth because other positions deal with the same wear and tear. How do you sort of respond to that? That kind of assertion from him is that why are we held to a different standard in terms of wear and tear compared to a receiver or an offensive lineman?
Yeah, I think that the profiles for positions across the board, all positions aren't created equal. There's durability. He's right. There's durability risk for for any player that a team is thinking about signing to a second or a third deal. Some positions are, more at risk for injury than others, but I think probably more importantly, it's about the individual. It's about the individual and making sure not to lose sight of that.
As a show of solidarity, Nick was on that Zoom call yesterday. Pretty interesting today where he stepped in front of us and said, "I could be next." Mm-hmm. So does he have anything to worry about?
Nick Chubb, I would say this. Nick Chubb is the type of player and person that you hope is with the organization as long as possible, period. So.
Andrew, going back to the wear and tear with Nick, I mean, do you feel like that is, because it seemed like even back in Georgia, he wasn't the one, the only guy. They had other guys. And then with Kareem and others since he's been in the pro, do you feel like he's a guy that, the workload has been managed well, for him over the course of his career?
Yeah, I think Nick has shown himself to be durable for us. I think you all see on social media how well he takes care of his body, obviously, and he's the consummate professional. So we're hopeful that he can play as long as possible.
Andrew, how do you feel just in general about the season, and what are your expectations?
Yeah, so our expectations they're always going to be high, and we want to be playing our best football, in the later part of the season. But more importantly, our focus is really on the work. We have a lot of work to do over the course of training camp to get ready for the season, and that's really our focus right now.
You're coming off 8, 9, 7, and 10, mm-hmm. So as you said, the focus is on the work, but in the rearview mirror, it's been rough the last 2 years. Mm-hmm. So going forward, How does that change?
I'd say this: we're not really focused on the rearview mirror. We're not looking there. We're forward focused. We like the group of players and coaches that we have here, and we're looking forward to maximizing each day to
learn
process
from
it.
that stuff. I guess maybe that was a better question.
Mhm.
What do you learn
I
from
think you learn from every year. I probably tell you guys every season. Every year is unique, right? And I have I keep a OneNote with every cycle, every season, and every year I review kind of like my end of the season or end of like draft and free agency notes to like draw from those lessons there, because you're right, there are things that you learn or you grow from, and try and apply those lessons moving forward.
Andrew talked to Deshaun Watson today, and he really poured out his heart a little bit about how he told the team his story last night, before age, and how he feels that his work changed him, and it was a really good interview with Deshaun. So I'm just wondering, where do you see him now as compared to last year? What do you feel his mindset is, and just also from a football standpoint, where he's
Yeah, Deshaun. I mean, you heard him speak. He's in a really good place. I think this is going to be a big year for him professionally and personally. We think he's in great shape physically. He's been really good on the field, and I love what he's done off the field. So we're excited about him. Looking forward to see how the next weeks play out, and as we get into the season with our quarterback.
What are you excited to see from the partnership with Kevin, given that they've been together almost a year and a half?
Yeah, I think it's from the general manager seat. It's been pretty cool to just see their relationship continue to just come together. Like it's very natural and organic, Jake. And I think Kevin, like with Kevin's creativity and Deshaun's like talent and work ethic, the things that I think we'll be able to do offensively that maybe we haven't been able to do before. Candidly, I'm pretty excited to see. So I know both of them really from the spring have been in the lab, so to speak, and we're all going to get a chance to see how it comes together here at starting with training camp, and then as we kind of figure out our identity going into the season.
Andrew, I don't think Schwartz can help Miles reach another level.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Jim, his scheme and his system, the defensive line in this system, they're the engine. And as he always says, he takes the seatbelt off of those guys. It's about generating negative plays, forced errors, turnovers, and it starts with the D-line, wrecking havoc with a premium on pass rush ability. And that fits Miles to a T. We think we have the best pass rusher in the league with him, and this is a tailor-made kind of match made in heaven, if you will.
I don't think we've talked to you since the Zadarius trade. So, what do you think he adds in that mold with Jim and Miles?
Yeah, we can never have enough rushers. I think with Z, the appeal with him is his versatility. He's a high-level rusher who, I think. Oftentimes people just think of him as an edge guy, but I think really where he's particularly skilled is his ability to rush inside over a guard or center. And he can do the stuff on the edge really well, but having someone who can win quickly inside just gives you so much versatility to create advantageous matchups to rush the passer. So between him, Obo with his speed off the edge, we have a couple power guys, with Dalvin and Siaki. It's a nice blend of skill sets to get after the quarterback.
One more position. Andrew, this doesn't feel like when you look at some of the competition, it feels like it's back end of the roster competition. There aren't a lot of starting jobs that are up for grabs type of a thing, and a lot of the players are competing for some of those remaining roster spots or guys going into their third and fourth year. Just, I guess, how do you feel about those two classes, the 2020 class and the 2021 class, as far as their ability to have the type of impact that you're looking for them to have as they get deeper in their NFL career?
Yeah, we feel good about those groups. I would say this: we feel good about the roster in general. I mean, it remains to be seen the competition of starting spots versus maybe more supporting roles within the offense or defense. But we feel good about the competition that we have across the roster and are looking forward to guys. Some guys will assume bigger roles. Some guys will take another step in their career, and how that all shakes out, that's what the next several weeks are for.
Andrew, is Amari okay?
Yeah, so Amari, minor tweak. will be a day-to-day thing. We're not overly concerned. Yeah.
What,
I won't go into the details of where. It's not tied to a surgery or anything like that. We're not worried about it.
one more position group I want to ask you about. Any concerns about your running back depth beyond the first two?
Yeah, I think anytime Kareem was here for, I guess 3 years, 4 years. Anytime you move on from a vet, it gives some other players a chance to step up. We feel really good about Jerome. He had a very strong spring, particularly in his pass protection ability, the mental side of it. A big reason that we drafted him in 22 was because of his ability as like a receiver, and we think that he'll be able to play that role really well. But behind Nick and Jerome, there's going to be some competition, Tony, and it remains to be seen who can emerge for that third running back spot. But again, that's what training camp is going to be for.
How much does the change in the kickoff return rules? It feels like the league's just trying to eliminate that altogether. So when you have a combo player that's a receiver return, how much does the rule change impact your calculus when you're thinking not only the numbers game of the position, but the players?
Yeah, it's a great question. It certainly makes a higher bar for how productive that returner is to have the player on the roster just for that value, because you're right. If you don't have a strong returner, and you can just fair catch it all the time and probably get adequate starting field position. But that's something, honestly, like throughout Bubba's history, he's always done a nice job when he's had a good returner of creating like a top of class return game. So it's something that we will still value, but from a roster building standpoint, I would be lying if I said it didn't give more flexibility in terms of building the room.
How excited are you to
Couple more?
to see what Elijah Moore can do in this offense and how he fits?
Yeah, very much so. I think Elijah has a skill set that we were looking for. His versatility, his work ethic, his rapport with the quarterback so far. We like what we've seen to date. We just want him to keep stacking together really good days.
Andrew, you mentioned Zadarius' versatility. Does that maybe alleviate some of the concern about bringing in another defensive tackle, because he can slide inside on several occasions?
I think certainly how we envision deploying Zadarius, certainly how we also just like the way we play the front is going to be a little bit different than maybe what we've seen in the past. It just gives us a lot of flexibility, but I think maybe the primary thing is we like the guys in the room currently. Again, we'll assess that as we go over the next couple of weeks, but there are a number of veterans and younger players in that room that we're looking forward to seeing potentially flourish in Jim's system.
And there's like a lot of guys like Deshaun and Miles who are talking about different leadership and growing their leadership this year. Do you, as the leader of the organization, are they in your ear? Do you see them talking to you about ways that they can develop that as well?
No, absolutely. Like we take pride in supporting our players, like organizationally, not just say how can they be on the field, or how are they physically, but in terms of the social, emotional leadership development as well. And we want to make sure we do provide resources to our guys in that regard. Fortunately, we have a really hungry locker room with guys that are looking for self-improvement, and we feel fortunate in that regard. Also, like your Jays.
Is there a couple, when you look at the roster change from here, there's a couple things that emerged that you were thinking about?
Yeah, in terms of like the off-season?
Yeah, the off-season. No, but you brought in these new guys.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there are a couple themes about what you were doing.
Yeah, so we one of the things that we really wanted to do going into the off season was refortify the trenches, and probably really specifically O-line depth, and on the defense side of the ball, add as many rushers as we can, and then really continue to surround our quarterback with with weapons, with Elijah being the primary person there, but guys like Marquise, Cedric, Jordan, as well. So that was probably the primary goals in the off season, but as well as like bringing our team together. Just because we're going to face the inevitable adversity throughout the season, and we want to make sure we can navigate that.
We're talking about the defensive line being the engine. I mean, you put more money now on the defensive line than you ever had before. Connection.
I would say yes and no. Like, yes, from the perspective that it was a position group that we were going to have to turn over at some point. We've always actually devoted a fair amount of resources to end, whether it was OV in 2020, Clowney in 2021, and then Clowney again in 2022. And then defensive tackle, we typically had guys like either on rookie contracts or at lower expenditures. But we were just so young there last year, and obviously our focus was on the quarterback and the receiver and that cycle of roster building. Where this year we can kind of get back to the trenches on the defense side of the ball.
Nick Chubb's squatting videos scare you?
I always tell Nick, whenever that comes out, I shoot him a text. I'm like, Nick, this is always my favorite, social media clip of the offseason and the most anxiety-producing one as well. So, he's a freak of nature. So,
Good.
All right. Thank you guys. All right. Take it easy.
Activities planned for the week?
I want to go hiking. That's what I want to do. I want to try to see if there's a good hiking trail up here. Yeah. Right there.